Hi, I wanted to jump on and share with you 3 do's and 3 don'ts of prospecting. It's a little bit of a random assortment, but I'm sure you'll get some good stuff out of it. So, the first one seems really obvious, but do make the call. So, I hear lots of different reasons for agents not making the call. But essentially, we're in a business, we need to talk to people. The more people we talk to, the more success we're going to have. Just pick up the phone and make the call. If you're saying it doesn't work in your area, we've worked in different areas all throughout the country. I guarantee you it does work. Please make the call. That's tip 1. Tip number 2, do value the relationship building activities. So obviously we're aware that you're short on time and that every activity that you do needs to be working towards the listing. But these relationship building activities, so for example, your soft appraisals, face-to-face dropping off market reports, that type of thing, neighbours open homes, for example, getting to meet people in your local area, but having that face-to-face interaction with them, those are so valuable. So soft appraisals is a great example of something that a lot of agents get frustrated with and they don't like to spend time doing. But the beauty of that soft appraisal is that you're really building that or furthering that relationship and that connection with the client. They then know who you are. So every subsequent call after that is going to be so much more well received, so much warmer. And it's also a lot easier for you to make the call because you've met them as well. So that is really important. Number 3 in the do's, plan your communication. Now, this one here is really important because the biggest thing, and I hear it all the time, is that I don't know what to say to the client. If you have a list of things that you could talk to them about, you just will never run out of them, and then your excuses won't come. If you always have something to talk about, and to be honest, you can never say that anyhow because there's always new listings and new sales to talk about with them. So even if you can't think of anything else, you could talk to them about something like that. Moving on to the don't. So don't number 1, don't ditch data don't ditch data if they say they're not interested at the time. Be specific about that. If you speak to somebody and they're not interested, it doesn't mean they're not going to be interested in 3 months, 6 months, 3 years. So just because they're not interested today doesn't mean they're not going to be interested down the track. You just have to make sure that your tactic takes into account that they're not selling right now. So we don't need to call them every 3 months or however often and ask them, are you thinking of coming to market? A better approach would be calling them and saying, I know you're not thinking of selling, and why would you? You're in a fantastic spot. The reason I'm calling is because whatever the reason is. That's don't number 1. Don't number 2, don't ask your pipeline, how's everything going with the house? You might have heard me mention this before, but as soon as you say, how's everything going with the house, the client knows what you're really asking is, when are you ready to list? Don't ask, how's everything going with the house? There's so much more you can talk to a pipeline client about, and there's so many other questions that you can ask to find out where they're at and how their plans are tracking without asking that question. Don't number 3, don't think you have a relationship with a client because you sold the house to them. You do not. If you sold the house to them 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and you haven't spoken to them since, someone else is in the door, and the likelihood is that they're going to get the listing. You need to keep that communication up, needs to be regular, needs to be consistent, and off the back of a sale is the perfect opportunity to really make the most of it. So don't think and automatically assume that you've got a relationship with them because you sold them the house. There's 3 do's and don'ts for prospecting. Get into it, guys, and remember you're listing out for that not yet, because that could mean sometime soon.